Good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm going to get a haircut today, my official FBI haircut, apparently. And hopefully my producer will have lined someone interesting up for me to talk to this afternoon. Those are two hopes that I have for today. It came to my attention when I first rolled out of bed this morning and sat down to take my morning constitutional. The people are still kind of uncertain about trespass laws and filming policies and things like that. So I'm going to do my best to clear up any confusion that may exist. And this afternoon, I most likely will make a video about McDonough v. Rundle, because it's been held out to me as like the end-all be-all, and it's really not. So, you know, a sad fact of law, and it's a good fact and a sad fact at the same time, is that it is always open to interpretation. And having been an attorney for about a year now, one thing I found in preparing my pleadings and going in front of judges to argue them is that there are usually two sides to every argument. And your side isn't ever as strong as you think it is. I mean, if the other side's arguing it and the other side's got an attorney, the other side probably has something akin to an argument. And where I make my money is in finding the differences between his argument and his sources, my argument, my sources, and the actual facts of the case. And no, it's not to make the law more difficult than what a layman can do. It's a complicated issue. Complicated issues have complicated resolutions and need complicated analysis to understand. It's easy to understand if you have two apples and you eat one. It's easy to understand how you arrived at one left. 2 minus 1 is 1. If you're trying to figure out some sort of gravitational analysis on why the moon revolves around the earth and not around the sun, well, there's going to be a significantly more complicated analysis that goes into that. And I don't do the physics, so I wouldn't know even how to start. But trespass, generally speaking, at an MBE level, that's the multi-state bar exam level. So it's kind of an amalgamation of all the trespassing laws in the U.S. It requires notice. A sign can be notice, or someone telling you can be notice, but generally speaking, there's going to be a notice element required. So does a sign that says no photography or no filming give you notice for trespass? No. It tells you that there's a policy in place, generally speaking, as long as we're discussing trespassing laws, it tells you there's a policy in place. And if you violate a policy, any policy, then they can trespass you. Then they have, and we're talking out of a government building. That gives them, it's what the courts generally are looking for is that the policy is clear, it's not arbitrary or capricious, it's being enforced uniformly, etc. Having a sign puts everybody on notice that it applies to them, everybody. But they still have to ask you to leave because they've given you notice of the policy, but they haven't given you notice that you have to leave, that your violation of the policy has led them to actually trespass you. So having a sign up that says no filming doesn't mean you've been trespassed. And in fact, you can continue to film. I'm not suggesting you do this, but you can continue to film until you're told to stop. Now, as to whether or not that sign is constitutional, well, there's an analysis for that, and you actually have to go through the analysis. If there is a sign that says no filming in a police station, we don't know, just from the sign that says no filming, whether or not that sign is constitutional. I know people are going to want to say it has to be, it is, it must be, but no, we don't know. We do know that a police station is going to be found to be a non-public forum. We know that. Jails are non-public forums. Airports are non-public forums. Military bases are non-public forums. I mean, the list goes on and on. The post office is a non-public forum. Police stations are going to be a non-public forum. Courts are a non-public forum. A police station will be found to be a non-public forum. I'm 99.99999% sure that a police station, especially the lobby of a police station, will be found to be a non-public forum. The government isn't holding it out for First Amendment purposes. It's not a place that's been used since time immemorial for speech. It's going to be a non-public forum. So we know the test on whether or not that particular policy is constitutional. Is it viewpoint neutral? And no filming is pretty viewpoint neutral. Now maybe as applied it might not be. Who knows? That would be that'd be a fact-intensive question. You have to look at all the times it's been applied, how it's been applied, etc. But just a sign that says no filming, just a policy that says no filming in the police station is not, in and of itself, a viewpoint non-neutral. I don't know how to say that. And the only other thing it has to be is reasonable. And I think that's the best argument you're going to have as to why it would be. Are you going to poop? No, she's just scrabbling for a place to pee, I think. Yep, she's peeing. There you go. So, viewpoint neutral and reasonable. That's what it has to be. That's the test. You have to actually run through that test. You have to kind of guess what a court's going to figure. And at this point, I'm thinking that a court will probably find that the police could limit filming. But it's like a 51-49 split in my brain. So, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. It's definitely an open question, but you're certainly running a risk of running afoul of any trespassing laws. If they say you're filming, you need to leave, and you don't leave. You can certainly say that the underlying policy is unconstitutional, but whether or not you'll win is anybody's guess. Now, I was very specific when I was talking about trespassing laws, because there are other laws out there that prevent filming that aren't trespassing laws, and they don't have a notice element in them typically. If you look at the 42 USC 102.74.420 or something like that, something along those lines. Though 41 is 41, I think it's 41. Anyway, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. The GSA policy on filming. Those do require that notice be placed on the entrance to the federal building that the GSA owns and manages and rents to or leases to other agencies. And in that particular one, you'll notice that the prohibition against filming is not a trespassing thing. It's not a policy violation. There is actually a fine and potential jail time associated with violating that particular rule. It's a regulation. It's the part of the Code of Federal Regulations. It is more of a law than a policy. It's also a policy, but it's a law. It's a law-icy, I guess. And the post office has a very similar one. It's in the 39 CFR something or the other. You can see it on their poster 7. They are required to put up their poster 7 by their own CFRs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that any underlying regulation in there would be invalid if applied, if they don't have that sign posted, but they all post that sign. And it is a prohibition against photography. I know everybody wants to think, I know there's a lot of amusement in my Discord server over a auditor recently finding it and thinking, hey, I think this actually means we can't film. Yeah, dude, it means you can't film. The post office is fairly weak about it, though. They do like to rely on local police to supplement, because they are a business. They are a for-profit business, and it's cheaper for them to use local police and local sheriff deputies to enact and enforce local laws than it is for them to have postal inspectors do it. So there you go. But yeah, I hope I've covered it without butchering it too much. I think I will make a video on McDonough v. Rundle, just to hopefully dispel any misconceptions that are out there about it. Thanks for watching, and have a great Saturday.